What's up and happy mental push-up Monday, baby. We here. If this is your first time joining, my name is Andrea Fitzgerald. I'm an author, a speaker, an educator, and also a person really obsessed with personal growth and development. So each week we get in the gym and we do our mental push-ups because the most challenging and rewarding work that we will ever do is on ourselves. So the title of today's mental push-up is Life is a Game of Runs. So I have been totally immersed in the NBA playoffs. I'm talking about watching all the games. And it's so interesting to me that you can be watching a game and one team can be totally smacking. I'm talking about tearing them up. And then you come back like an hour later, either the game is tied or the other team is taking the lead. It's really interesting to me because they have these runs where they score. They might go a few plays, they'll score, and then they'll go a few plays and they won't score. And so it's like this shifting of momentum throughout the game. And so as I thought about that, I said, you know what, watching this game, they say sports teaches you a lot about life, but to me it's so evident watching these runs go back and forth. Like, it's so relative. Like, we have highs, we have lows, but it's all about how we respond. So I want to share with you a few ideas around life is a game of runs. Let's get it. For one, take it one play at a time. So just like life has highs, it has lows. Imagine you're in a low moment, and when you were in a basketball game and you were down a whole bunch of points. What you don't want to do is get out of what the game plan is, right? So I was watching the Grizzlies, and one of the things that they were doing, like, we were down 20, we didn't win the game. You saw, we lost the series, but one of the things I saw is they stopped taking it one play at a time. They start trying to make the threes, make the trick shots versus like running their offense, and just, we are going to edge away at this one play at a time. And so it's almost like when we are in those low moments, we just have to take it one day at a time. Maybe sometimes even 1 hour, 1 second. It's certain things, like, you're not going to climb a mountain in one day, right? It's all about just what's the next best thing. 1 second, 1 moment, 1 hour. So just take it one play at a time, one day at a time. Number 2, manage your emotions. Don't get caught up in what is currently happening. I'm still in the mental gym on this one. I'm still doing my mental push-ups. I'm not perfect here, but we have made progress. I think oftentimes that what can happen is when we are in a low moment, we can go in the deep end. Worst case scenario, we talked a few weeks ago about making stuff up in our mind. I like to call my little inner mean girl Sybil. Worst case scenario. And if we operate from that place of worst case scenario, it's very challenging to think clearly on what it is that we are actually trying to accomplish and almost trying to get through, right? And so, we want to give ourselves the space to feel our feelings. I'm not saying, I shouldn't feel anyway. You feel sad about it, feel sad about it. Give yourself the space to process that, but don't allow that to dictate your response from an emotional place, right? And like I said, I am a work in progress, and I own that fully. But oftentimes I can watch different basketball games and I see the players arguing with the ref, or I saw a few AAU games a few weeks ago, and they had bad body language, right? They were allowing their emotions to dictate and really almost deter them from what it is they're trying to accomplish. Because as a recruiter, if I'm in a gym and I see your bad body language, then that lets me know that maybe you are not mentally tough. So one of the things here is, don't allow that to dictate what you need to do. You know what you're trying to accomplish. And so, like we said before, it's just one play at a time. But if being emotional, then it's very challenging to make those sound decisions. Number 3, life is cyclical. There will be highs and there will be lows. I know for me, sometimes I want for it to always be happy. Why can't it always be happy? But as I've learned in therapy, that's just unrealistic. Like, life is not always happy. The lows are actually, we need those, right? Like, we need both of them. They balance themselves out. There's light and dark in the world, and I think it provides almost a certain appreciation for life in general. Like, it's not always going to be good, it's not always bad. It's a part of it. But the next point, the lows are how we grow and how we evolve. Because the lows are where we learn, right? Like I remember when I was younger, I loved the Chicago Bulls. I'm talking about, I love me some Michael Jordan. Chicago Bulls is all about it. But I remember for many years, I would watch them get beat by the Detroit Pistons over and over and over. And I think I looked it up. They lost 4 times to them. 4 years they lost to them. But I also think that's what made them a champion. Because those losses, they went back and they learned. Because I saw the first year they only won 1 game. The next year they won 2. And I think the next year they may have won 3. And then they finally won 4. But it was a process, because when we lose, that's when we learn. Like, I'm certain my Grizzlies, we gonna learn something this season. Hopefully, because it was a hard season. You know, we got toe up at the end. So we learn from the losses. And the last one is, you gotta be willing to punch back. We know that in life, it is inevitable that we are going to experience storms. In the words of Les Brown, either we in a storm, we coming out of a storm, or guess what? It's another one coming. It's inevitable. It's going to happen, but it is all about how we respond. I want to leave you with the formula E plus R equals O. Now, I'll tell you a quick story. I went to this conference a few years ago, and the sales guy, he talked about these 2 different teams that he was managing. Both of the teams were experiencing the same thing. They were losing money, and he was trying to figure out what was going on. And so one of the teams started making like a whole lot of progress. Like, oh my gosh, like a ton of money they started making. And so they were experiencing the same thing. But he went and talked to one of the other people, like, well, we saw we did this, so we made an adjustment. We decided to make this change. We did it. And that's what led to that. And so he had this formula up there, E plus R equals O. And he said event plus response equals outcome. The team that was able to produce a lot of the results was because they made a difference. They made a choice on how they responded. Life is going to happen. We can talk about all day the events. Oh, this, I experienced this. Oh, they did that to me. This is about us taking responsibility and deciding, listen, I'm punching back. Listen, I don't care. I'm gonna make a choice on how I respond. So keep that in mind. Event plus response equals outcome. Punch back whenever you get in that low moment. You get a choice on when you can do that. Because even in these games, like, these players have to make a decision. Like, am I going to get caught up? We're down by 50. Or am I going to go after it, fight, and do what I need to do to win this game? And so we have to do the same thing in our own lives. So thank you all for tuning in. Get out there this week and do those mental push-ups. And as I always say, be bold, be brave, and most importantly, friends, be you. And if this video added some value, share, subscribe, like, all of that. Y'all have a great week.